Hello, I'm Sandra. Welcome to the channel. This is Sing, Play, Create Teaching Tips. And today I've got 5 tips for back to school success that will help you establish your music classroom, get to know your students, and kickstart your year off in a positive attitude, lay the foundation for a great school year. Let's get started. Tip number 1. Don't laugh, do laugh. That's the tip. The tip is to smile. Boy, I've spent all week long decorating my room. I've organized the music props. I've got the instruments labeled. I've been setting all these things up. I've got everything clean. I've got my clothes at home washed, ready to go. I've got my food prep done. I get to school and I'm, hi, boys and girls, welcome. So we got to bring it down. And we have to find a way to laugh and be happy and smile and relax on the first day, even though we've had to do all these multitude of things to get to a smile, to get to that first day. It's like huge for every teacher. I get it. And I got lucky after the first 2 years. I was traveling a lot, but then I settled into one school and stayed there, except at the very end, I did end up having to travel to one school one afternoon a week, but it wasn't too bad. But even just doing that, packing everything up, getting in the car, driving for 30 minutes, going to another location, going to a room that has no decor, doesn't have all the props you might need. So then there's a lot of managing of those kind of things that will add to the stress of teaching. Those are things we want to consider, when you're getting your room and all these things prepped, is how will that affect me for that first day? And one thing I used to do is I would actually, this took me a while, it probably took me 10 years to figure this out. I wish I'd figured this out at the beginning. But what I would do is at the end of the school year, I would decide then which bulletin boards am I changing, what's staying, what's going, and I actually put almost everything away before even the end of school. I only had the things out in the room that we were going to use at the end of the year. And so I had big cupboards that helped me. I also had buckets, some things I had to take home that were mine, but I took care of all of that before the last day. I found it was easier to do a little bit each week that last month of school than to tell myself I had to come in after contract hours and clean my room. That's just something I learned. And so if I was going to redo a bulletin board, there might be that one day that I was going to do that kind of stuff. Yeah, I might have to stay after and work on that a little bit, but I preferred that than having to come in during my summer months. So that's just something I offer you to think about. And then also the other idea is to create things in your room that do not need to be changed. So you might have a background and color scheme in your room, and you might only need to change some of the things that are going to go on that throughout the year. But your basic background and your trim and border is going to stay the same. And you're just changing some of the elements on the bulletin board. And that's something else I did. Now, if you're really into bulletin boards and you love to do that, you go and get that done. It just wasn't my most favorite thing. And so I kept it as simple as possible, and that's what worked for me. So we want to get to that smile on the first day. So some of the things I learned to do, and it took time, and I hadn't worked before until I started teaching school, and I had 4 kids, and so only had 2 of them at home when I started teaching school, but I had, 3, 4 different schedules still between me, my husband, and the 2 kids. So we had our schedules were hard, and I had to drive 30 minutes each way. And so I had to figure all these things out. How am I going to get to work and put a smile on my face? What does that mean? And I do believe it's different for everybody. So I just offer my ideas to you to get you thinking about what might work for you. I know for a lot of teachers, a cup of coffee works. I like to do yoga in the morning and my harder workouts after school. I personally did food prep on the weekend, just because I wanted to streamline all the things that might have to be done on a daily basis and put them to a weekly or even a bi-weekly basis, so that when I went to school, I wasn't like worried about, oh, I have to hurry home and I have to get dinner and da 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 yada yada, all this stuff. So I kept things simple that way, and I did a lot of prep and a batch things. So when I cooked chicken, I might cook enough for 4 meals and some of it goes in the freezer, that kind of thing. So those are some ways that you can think about to help you get to tip number 1, which is to smile on the first day. Be happy to be there, welcome the students, make them want to come into music class, and you're that smiley teacher that they always know, oh, I see you, I'm smiling because I really want to be here. And I don't want all those other things in my life to get in my way of going and doing my very favorite job in the whole wide world, and that is to be an elementary music teacher. Tip number 2 is to sing or make music with your students on the very first day. I came from a singing background. Even though I play instruments, singing was always my first instrument, and so that's what I go to. But of course, if you're an instrumentalist coming into the general music classroom, then use your instrument to welcome the students. I know a lot of band or strings people end up teaching elementary music, so why not play the violin? And if you can sing a little bit, hello, hello, come inside, come inside with a great big smile, and I just made that up, but you can make something up that goes with your instrument, and that's gonna really get the kids liking you because it comes from the heart. So I try to sing, and as you know, I've said in every one of my videos, is I do like a hello song at the beginning of class. I just feel like it helps create classroom community. It gets everyone into music land very, very quickly, and something you can do without props. And that's why I like to have a singing song for every grade that comes into the music classroom. Something that goes along with singing, and is part of the singing that I do in my classroom, is to sing the procedures and the rules. And so I have songs and little chants that will help teach the students the things I want them to do in the classroom. So for example, I would have the kinders come in and follow the leader around the circle, and the circle was marked with dots. I had rows in the middle of the circle for the older students, but in kindergarten, I had them do the circle because they haven't walked in a line before. They don't know how to. So we walked in a circle, and we just did simple following the leader activity. I shared that in the K through 2 video that you can go watch. But I sang to them, following the leader, and I just have them follow me in a circle, and then we stop. The reason I like to use songs and the music to those songs is because I don't want to be singing all day long every day. I will lose my voice. I did lose my voice for almost 10 years. I was not able to sing any notes like above E, almost above middle C. I had to keep it in like a 2 or 3 note range, and it totally really challenged me to be able to do my job. I had to learn how to do things with my hands and through the music. So when I played the song, following the leader, the lineup song, the kids knew, oh, it's time to line up, and we just walk around the circle, and then here comes their teacher, and they just walk from the circle right out the door. And oh, that's another thing. So I did a lot of hand signs, like big smile, good job, thank you, hello, waving, walk around the circle, stand up, sit down, attention, or I know some people hate that, but you can come up with a clapping pattern. I also did things like if they're really noisy and they're not watching me, I wouldn't say anything. And I would just keep doing things, tapping and patting my body until everyone was following me. I think one of the most funny things that happens with that is if you do not say anything, you will teach your students that you need to be paid attention to in such a kind and nice way. It's such a gentle way to teach. And then what's really funny is there's always someone in the class will go, "Shh, everybody be quiet. She's tapping her nose." And then there'll be someone else that starts pointing to everyone and say, "Hey, you're supposed to point your nose," but that's okay. It doesn't matter. The point is to get, if it's a really chatty class, you stop the chatting and you can then refocus, and you get them all doing some body percussion, hugging, like if there's some tension in the room. So using the singing songs, using hand signs, that is something that if you can work that into your classroom procedures and just the way you teach, it's going to really help you with classroom management and save your voice. So if you can imagine having a core set of these kinds of songs, which are going to actually give you the structure that you need in your classroom in order for you to teach music. So I'm not talking about the music lessons. I'm talking about how your classroom is going to go, the way you're going to respond to the students and interact with them. Are you going to be talking to them? Are you going to point to the rules? Are you going to be pulling them aside and whispering? What's the way that you're going to interact with the students? Are you going to have everybody sit down and think? You know, there's lots of different strategies that teachers use. And I found that to keep the class going, I just had these little songs and chants and hand signs that really helped a lot with the classroom management because it kept things going. And I found I didn't have to stop everything or stop what I was doing and go run fix something. So that was something that helped. It does not always solve every problem, but it is nice to have a core set if you can imagine these songs and activities that you can use throughout the year. And I have those. I've written some of them. I've also used some nursery rhymes and other things that will help you do this in your classroom. And that's in the Music Teacher Resource, and it is available on TPT and on the website. And I highly recommend you take a look at it, especially if you're a new teacher or if you're someone who you've hit a block or a blockade on your classroom management and you like to sing and you like to move, and those things you respond well to that, then these kinds of things are some ideas that will help you with your classroom management and making your class go a little more smoothly. In the Music Teacher Resources, there's over 55 songs, games, and chants that are for K through 6 applications, and they will help you create a classroom environment that is based on doing musical activities for your procedures to get to know your students' name games, and there's other chants and activities in there that will help you establish a really positive and uplifting, calm classroom. So we're going to sing. That's tip number 2. The next tip is to use props in the music room. Quack, quack. Hi, everybody. Today I'm going to get to learn your name. And so you can use props to help you teach. I use them all the time in my classroom. They're super effective, especially with the younger children. They really like them. You can just make up funny voices to use with them. And I just got these as a set of animal puppets, and I use them. I got them off of Amazon. Just really super easy to use. And you can teach music concepts like them, like whisper and speak and sing and shout and all our different voices. They can go fast, quack, 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 and slow, quack, quack, quack. So you can use them to help the students hear and see that music concept in a different way. So props are really good for that. So I like puppets. I have some free ones that you can get off the Sing, Play, Create website. These are for the Sing, Speak, Whisper, Shout. Made them in black and white and in color. And you can cut these out and put them on a popsicle stick, and there is a smaller version of them that I use, and I just have these handy when I'm teaching. These work too really well, and you can get these in the free resource library. And I have the link in the description below. And another prop that I like personally are bean bags. I find that you can use these for anything. You can use these if you don't have a lot of Beanie Babies. I know a lot of people go get the Beanie Babies, but if you just want to use bean bags, you can use these too. They're great for the beat. And I have 2 videos that you can look at, steady beat activities using bean bags. I like them because they're like those Beanie Babies. They're soft and tactile, and we can quiet, and we can play the beat on them. And they're just easy to use. These are Bear Paw Creek bean bags, and I really like them, and that's what I use in my classroom. And so this is another prop that I highly recommend you grab for your activities, because you can play so many games with even the upper elementary students using these bean bags. And then, of course, there's all your classroom instruments, scarves, stretch bands, parachutes, all those kind of things that you can use in your classroom. But we're talking about the first day, so you might want to keep it simple. I have used a puppet on the first day. If you're teaching preschool music, which a lot of you are, puppets are great for preschool. They can read the story. You know, even if you have it on a PowerPoint, a story on a PowerPoint, the puppet can read the story, and you're going to have everyone's attention. It's like elevated up, I don't know how many more percent more, but let's say if you do it, you have 75% of the kids pay attention. But if you use a puppet, you're going to have 95% of them, especially if you're walking around the room with the puppet. And that way you're watching them, but they're looking at the puppet, and then they're listening to the story. So that's a good classroom management tip. I can tell a funny story about that. I had to travel to a school that was overcrowded. They didn't even have classrooms for everybody. They had kids in the hallways. They put me, of all places, with music in the computer lab where there was just this small, like 4-foot area, 2 rows of 4 feet space where the kids could walk and then sit down at the computer. So I'm in this school with it was really crazy for everybody. They hadn't got it all figured out before school had started. And I'm in the room, and I have my big puppet. I had a big Arpeggio the cat puppet with me. And I've got my cat puppet, and I've got 2 other puppets with me, and I've got my PowerPoint. But, you know, the kindergartners are sitting in the chairs, and the chairs are way bigger than them, and so they're doing this thing. I don't want to blur my video, so I won't move too much, but you know how they just move all over? And they're wiggling around in these chairs, and so I get out my big puppet, and I'm going, "Well, hello, boys and girls," and you know, and I got a big laugh out of this because the principal came in to see how we were doing, and she was in the back of the room, and she patted me on the arm and said, "You're doing good." And I was like, oh, because it was crazy. But the puppets saved me. Really, they did. The puppets saved me. So if you haven't used a puppet before, I have a couple blog posts that could help you. And you can always reach out to me in the comments below, and I can shoot you those links. But consider getting puppets and making sure you have the right props to help you on your first day activities. I have a game I'd like to share with you today. It's called Get to Know You Rhythm Activity. It's available in the Sing, Play, Create TPT store. And the thing is, to me, this product, this resource has it all. It's got the chant, it's got the presentation, it's got the rhythm worksheets for the kids to do, and it provides a way, it solves the problem of helping you get to know your students and also helping your students do a music activity on the very first day. So I highly recommend you check that out. And I have another one that I have in 2 different levels also. I have the level for the younger students, K2, and then 3 and 4, and it's called Apple Tree. And that one has a song, it has the solfege, it has all the types of materials you would need to kick-start your school year in Music Land, so your students get refreshers on all these things you taught them last year. And then, of course, it has a really fun game. Both of these resources have games. They're really great for the first day activities, and the links for them are below in the description. So we just did some really active games, and now it's time to calm down. And I've used lots of different things over the years, but I do know most of the students are familiar now with yoga. And even if you just turn on some yoga music and choose a pose, if you want them sitting, then do sitting, the sitting pose where they touch their fingers like this and just be calm. And see, this is where I don't say anything. I just would turn on the music and then I would sit down and I would just smile and breathe. And I would wait for them to copy me. Just wait. It doesn't take long. It's a very powerful teaching strategy because I don't feel like you should have to say everything to the students unless they're hearing impaired or something like that. But I'm just talking in general where you can use your body language and signals and signs to help your students navigate what's going on in your classroom. It's another way to keep engagement super high. So I turn on the music, we hear it, and we respond to the music. You know, maybe you have a tiptoe activity you like to do, and you just start tiptoeing around the room and you tap someone and you say, follow me. So that tiptoe activity could be a way to get everyone quiet. And what you do is you could start off by having everyone sit down, and then you start tiptoeing, and then you tap someone and you say, follow me. Just mouth it, follow me. And then they tiptoe behind you. And then you go and tap someone else. And soon you have the whole class tiptoeing behind you while this music just loops on for 2 to 3 minutes. So you've taught them a lot of things by doing that activity. We've taught them to watch you, to listen, and not just to you, but to listen to the music, and also to sense what is going on in the room. It's a very powerful teaching tool, and I know that it works. I've tried it, and it works for almost any grade. I'm not sure about 6th grade because 6th grade I had a mixed experience with because I didn't get a full class. I only had students who were not in band and strings, so I didn't have that cohesive class that would come in, and sometimes only had maybe 10 students. So things were a little different for me, but it did work when I had the full classes. So any class, you can use these strategies where you stop talking and you show them what you want them to do. Here's another quick sign one. These are spiders, and the spiders are just going to dance. They're going to go around, and I don't say anything. You can just start doing this. And this is just another way to get your students calm. And they're chasing each other. They're chasing me. And then they can quietly put their hands together. And you can do some funny things with them, with these. It doesn't have to be all serious. Just get quiet. So this is a good way to calm your class down after you do those really exciting, fun games that you play. Get them calm, and then it's time to either sing a goodbye song, or you might have enough time in your class to do a different type of music activity like singing, you know, something that might not be as rambunctious as a chasing game. Another thing I want to talk about breathing and calming down is I also found as a teacher that I needed to have this flow of intensity, calm going on during my day, that I couldn't have it be this intense all 7 classes a day, that I had to have a rise and fall in each of those classes for me and for the kids. So I could take a deep breath. Okay, now I'm going to teach you how to play the bluebird game, and then I would be able to play the game. So I found it really helpful as a person. It also helped keep me balanced, gave me a chance to breathe. I didn't feel so stressed out all day long, pushing. And I think those kind of quieter, calm down activities really help you and the students get through the school day with a smile on your face, which is tip number 1. We also want to end our day with a smile. Another way to get students calm and to help them go from the high intensity movement to a calmer state is to do some of these type of activities where I said, like, follow me activities where I'm not talking. I'm just showing them. And so tapping and hugging are two things you can do to help them get calm. So if they'll do it gently, you can do here, or just do it on the head and do it really soft, and the shoulders. Even if you just do this one where they're hugging, you can just do hugs and have them pat. And I know some of the kids will do this and they won't be calm, but get everybody doing this, and then just, hang in there. Don't say anything until you get everybody quiet. And you don't need music to do this with. It helps if you do, because then the kids know in my room that when there was music on, we're not supposed to talk, because I did these things to help them learn that. But if you don't have music or you don't want to play the music, just do this. And even if you get half the kids to do it, and just have them calm down and have them pat their knees, pat their chest, pat their belly, get everybody calm. And honestly, it will help you probably the most. And you're the one that needs to transition to whatever's next on your plate. So hopefully these 5 tips will help you create a classroom environment and an ebb and flow to your lessons, so that you are able to go to school with a smile, end your day with a smile, breathe through class, keep your students engaged, and have fun and learn music all throughout the school year. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you will like and subscribe. And don't forget to check the links below if you need any help, share in the comments, or feel free to contact me. Thanks for watching.